Okay. Welcome to Virtual History 360, everybody. How's it going? All right, so about 2 minutes later, and I want it to be, little technical difficulties. If you've been following this channel, that's not really news, I suppose. But let's give you guys a couple minutes and see how long, if anybody gets in. Hey, let me ask you, I'm trying something new. I've got some background music. I'm not sure how well the microphone's picking it up. If you can leave me a comment, this is Vicious X Nitro. Can you hear the background music? Hi. Am I coming through? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear the background music? How's everything sound? Crawlblock076, hello. I'll ask you, maybe you can help me out. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. Can you hear the music in the background? Okay, everything's sounding good. Give you guys about another minute, then we'll get started. I appreciate you guys logging in today. A little bit, perfect. Just so there's a little bit in the background, that's all I need. Huh, I'm having 3 people commenting, but it's telling me only 2 people are watching. Curious how that works. All right, give you about 30 more seconds. I appreciate you guys being the first ones here. I'm assuming you got the notifications. So how are you guys doing today? You guys having a good day? A good Monday? Figure we try this on a Monday. All right, so I've been live for about 2 minutes. I'm going to get started in a second. Just a reminder, this live chat right here is perfect. If you have a question, if you have something to share, a comment, drop it in there. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll answer. Maybe I can't. I'll have to look it up. Excuse me. Dealing with allergies. FSA was fun. Please, I don't want to lose my certificate. Don't tell me anything more than that, okay? Headed to a track meet, huh? Hopefully the weather, it's raining over here near West Side. Hopefully the weather holds up for you. Not too bad, no lightning out there. All right, 2.5 minutes in. All right. FSA wasn't fun, but I'm sure you did well. That's what we've been practicing for, right? All right, almost ready. All right, so we are about 3 minutes into this live stream, and I want to say welcome to Virtual History 360. Wait, if you don't know me, if you're watching this on replay and you just found me, that's great. If you're just seeing this for the first time, go ahead and hit subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and hit that like button. That's how YouTube knows to show me out to the world, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is a live stream, and what I'm doing is I'm counting down to 100. I have this book right here by Michael Lee Lanning, okay? And basically I'm working from 100 to 1. Now, if you watch my last live stream from Friday, I talked about number 100. Just to review real quick, that's Palmetto Ranch, which was the last official battle of the Civil War. It happened in East Texas, not too far from Brownsville. And it was, ironically, a Confederate victory, but it was May, not April. So the war was over. That victory didn't help anyone, okay? Dolphin Plays, welcome. All right. So continuing on this countdown, and this one's pretty interesting to me. I can kind of have a personal connection, not necessarily to this number or this person, this event. I don't want to give anything away yet, but kinda, okay? So we're at number 99, and it looks like we're going to be doing these on Mondays. I put up a poll on Instagram, and Monday seemed to be the most common day put out there. So hopefully you can tune in live Mondays at 5 o'clock, and we'll see if I can't get on a regular schedule. So let's get started, all right? Civil War 100. Obviously, you know me, I love the Civil War, and that's why I like talking about. But it's not just about the battles, and that's what I ended on. And if you remember, I gave you guys a challenge after the last video. I'm going to ask about that at the end. But I ended by saying, you know, remembering history, remembering the Civil War is not just about the battles. It's also about the people. So I think it's fitting that number 99 is a person. Man by the name of John Pelham. Now, John Pelham was a junior officer. You see, he was born in Alabama. He was a young guy. In fact, he was still at West Point when the war broke out. And, he was kind of torn over what was going to happen. You see, he was from the South. He's from Alabama. And, with Lincoln's election and Fort Sumter and the South Carolina seceding and then Fort Sumter, he sent a letter to Jefferson Davis asking what to do. You see, he was a senior at West Point, but his loyalty still remained with his home state of Alabama. So what did he do? Just weeks before his graduation, he dropped out and joined the Confederate Army. Can you imagine? What would your parents say? You decided to drop out of school. This was a big deal back then. But he gets a commission as an artillery serviceman in Johnston's Army of Virginia. Okay, this is still early in the war. This is before Lee took over. Well, his time at West Point, he wasn't the best student, but he did learn a lot. And he was a really good artillery tactician on the field. And that's really what propelled his career. I'll get about... Pardon me 1 second. I'll get about his personal life in just a little bit. We're just talking about his military career. He served in numerous battles. He was at Antietam. He was all over. But the one battle that I want to talk about where he really earned some notoriety was Fredericksburg. Okay? And cancel it. Fredericksburg. He was at a little place, and give me 1 second here. There we go. Sorry about that. He was in the south end of the battlefield. And I'm going to reference my book here because nothing wrong with referencing books, right? Hamilton's Crossing. That was the word. I wanted to make sure I got it right. Plus, I have a tickle in my throat and trying to stall if you haven't picked up on that. Hamilton's Crossing, which is on the south end of the battlefield in Fredericksburg. Now, I had mentioned I had a personal connection to this. I did some genealogical research a few years ago, and I traced back my family line through my dad. And it turns out that my great-great-great-great-grand uncle, William Wade, he was born in 1830, served in the 68th Pennsylvania. He was actually at the Battle of Fredericksburg. He was actually captured, and I can go into his story later because he's clearly not in the top 100 here. But he was captured at Fredericksburg, and where his regiment, where he served, was a place called Slaughter Pen Farm. Now, if I can go off on a tangent just a little bit, just to try and keep this going. What's really cool about this is the fact that I went to Fredericksburg a couple years ago, 2017, I believe, or 2016, and I went to the national park. Oh, let me back up. Before I went to the national park, I actually looked up where the 68th Pennsylvania was, like where they were stationed before the battle. And the only thing I found was the day before the battle, they were on the east side of the Rappahannock River. And it just so happens that where his regiment was camped out is now the site of a Walmart. So I went into Fredericksburg. I went to Walmart and I thought, you know what? How cool would it be to look at the Rappahannock River from where my great-great-great-great-granduncle, once looked at that same river. So I went there and there was about 100 yards of thorn bushes. So I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So I went next door and they had a sand mine. Okay. Well, there was an ATV shop and I asked those guys, I go, hey, you guys think I can get down there? And they go, whoa, don't go down there because what happens is it's a federal sand mine. And if you go down there, it's a federal trespassing felony. I'm like, okay, so I won't go down there today because it was sunset, it was dusk. So the next morning I get up, leave the hotel, drive over to the sand mine. I knock on the door of the office and I explain my story. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy will let me take a picture. I'll say I was here and we'll move on. Well, you know what? He says no. Oh, I was heartbroken. So after I left there, I went to the national park site, the actual visitor center for Fredericksburg. And I got to talking to one of the rangers and he goes, you know what? Let me see what I can do for you. And he found different maps I hadn't seen before. And he found where the 68th Pennsylvania Regiment actually fought after they crossed the river. And that was in Slaughter Pen Farm. And I'm like, well, okay, so where is it? He goes, well, get this. Civil War Trust. If you go to civilwar.org, they have bought that land and they are preserving it. So I was able to go see where this took place. Now, what makes this really cool, in my opinion, is the fact that I can tie it to John Pelham, because Hamilton Crossing is the south end of the battle, which is where the Confederate the right of their line is where it was stationed, and it was fighting the 68th Pennsylvania and other Union regiments as it crossed the river right there in Slaughter Pen Farm. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think? Leave a comment, topic chat. Let me see. All right. Now back to Pelham. After Fredericksburg, it's wintertime. Typical Army rules. You don't fight during the winter. It's just little skirmishes, Well, come March, he's headed out to, hold on. Let me double check the book again. So I might get the words back up. Kelly's Ford. I almost said Ford Kelly. That wouldn't have made sense. Kelly's Ford. Well, artillery shell explodes right in his face. He's taken by horse to a hospital. He dies that day. Now, what about him? That's his military story. But what about him? He was young. He was charismatic. Blonde hair, blue eye. He was gallant on the horse. And in fact, he even earned the nickname, I said gallant on purpose, as Gallant Pelham by Robert E. Lee. That's pretty high, regards from, Robert E. Lee. So he was also a bit of a ladies' man. He said to have a lady friend in every town he visited. I'm going to take that for it as well. And in fact, after he died, at least 3 women dressed all in black to mourn him as if they were his widow. He never got married. But what makes him really cool is the fact that he died young enough that nothing, bad tinged his character. Okay. So you've heard the saying, if you watch The Dark Knight, the Batman, Christopher Nolan series, you die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, which is just a new way of saying only the good die young. He was 25 when he died. So, or 24 maybe. And, he had everything going for him. In fact, he was actually commissioned or scheduled for a promotion to lieutenant colonel because of his, battlefield valor. And unfortunately, he died as it was being approved, but they did award it to him posthumously. And after he died, they actually took his body into Richmond and, let him lay in state, which is odd for, a junior officer. And then when they sent him back to Alabama, they did the same thing, and now he's buried there. They have a statue that was erected in 1905, but that's a whole other political issue we can talk about later. Man, what do you think? Number 99. Now, why is he 99? If you read the book, it talks about how, and I'm going to put a link to this book in the profile of your internet or in the comments there. See if you like it. But in the book, he talks about, he was a junior officer and, he was good and he was, a great artilleryman. In fact, he worked with, he served under Jeb Stuart. He was actually part of the horse artillery. He was able to maneuver his artillery faster than most. And that's really what saved, not saved, but really helped the Confederates at Fredericksburg. But because he was a junior officer, he was, he has guys above him. And that's why he's ranked number 99 is what the book says. All right. So we've been going for about, 10 minutes or so. Do you have any questions for me? If you leave a comment, I'll answer back on there. But here's the thing. I left a challenge and no one's really commented yet. And I'm going to issue the same challenge again. Find a historical marker near where you live. Okay? Excuse me. Find a historical marker. Learn about the history of your community. It might surprise you, what's around you, what's available to find. Okay? So I'm going to issue that challenge again. I want to see if I can't get people on this because, history's all around. You just got to look for it. All right? And that covers about everything on John Pelham, for these purposes at least. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. It's been about 14 minutes now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll see them. I'll get back to you. Leave me something, and then maybe I'll reference it next Monday because we're going to try and do this, like I said, on the regular. Mondays at 5 o'clock. All right, so if you're seeing this, hit like, hit subscribe, share it out. Let's get the word out. Let's see if we can't make this big. All right? All right, for Virtual History 360, I'm Mr. Wade. Thank you. Bye, guys.